I want to talk to you today a little bit about compassion and self-compassion in sport, and how they can be used to help not only increase your well-being and enjoyment of sport, but also improve your performance. I know there's maybe a sense of misunderstanding or a misconceptualization of compassion. Sometimes within a sports context, ideas like this can seem a bit soft and out of place in a competitive environment. But in a way, I think that compassion, and especially self-compassion, are somewhat fundamental to being able to improve your well-being, enjoyment and performance within a sporting environment. So what is compassion? The etymology of compassion is literally to suffer with. Compassion is outward looking. It involves sympathy and empathy. So sympathy is the idea of an emotional resonance with someone else's feelings. Empathy is a conceptual understanding of why and how someone feels the way they do. So we need to have both sympathy and empathy when we think about compassion. It's also not enough just to understand the way in which someone feels, to share that feeling potentially if you have some degree of sympathy, but also to take action to resolve that suffering. I think athletes in general in sport are quite self-aware. They have a good physical self-awareness. They can often be aware of their own inner narrative, the thoughts that you have in terms of how you interpret your own performance. But I think also with that self-awareness comes an unhealthy dose of self-criticism. And I think that's where an idea of self-compassion is potentially really useful. In my own experience, I would say that mindfulness gives us a sense of mental spaciousness, and it gives room for that kind of compassion and self-care. Self-care isn't showing weakness, it's not self-indulgent, it isn't about accepting mediocrity, it's about giving yourself what you need in the moment to be okay and to thrive. So one thing there is that if we criticize ourselves incessantly with an idea of being perfect, if we seek perfection, if we have those kind of perfectionist tendencies, that can often undermine our confidence, because we can never be as good as the standards that we set ourselves, and we often discount our successes. So think about the internal narrative you have when you make a mistake in sport, in work or in life. You can maybe think, oh, I'm a failure, or maybe you have imposter syndrome, I don't belong here, or even just, oh, that conversation went really poorly, why did I say that stupid thing to that person? The question isn't really about whether that kind of internal thought is true or not. It's more about whether it's helpful. So if you struggle with self-criticism in your sport, there's a really good test called the friend test. Would you say to a good friend the things that you say to yourself? If the answer is no, then consider how you can reframe the internal narrative, the thoughts that you're having. Acknowledge how you feel, but consider how you reframe those thoughts in a way that is constructive and that helps you get on with your performance. If you're able to reframe your thoughts, not necessarily positively but constructively, then that will help you both manage your emotions, but also then therefore perform better. So it's not a bad thing to exercise self-compassion, and it's not a bad thing to be compassionate, to help others by minimizing their suffering. If you can do that for your teammates, if you can do it for your competitors, and then together you can all perform better and all enjoy your sport more. So please be kind, both to yourself and to those that you train with.